So it's been about 9 hours since the last video diary entry, very raw in that expression and the sharing. I want to explain some of the reflective pieces that have been coming through as I'm landing. Remembering the previous points of attempts of attainment at lower octaves of transcendence, being that of the 12th dimension embodied. And if you require information on what that is, you can find some in the consciousness education series, and understanding the basics to embodied dimensional realities. Yet, with this awareness, this is to share as it unravels, as I never had the capacity nor the energy to document in the previous points of time, and the time that I witnessed full purification of another as well. And as I've been sleeping mostly and unable to communicate mostly, there was some energy that came through in what you might consider a shift of solidification, but these shifts, or what you might consider waves, happen over time. And from the previous points of experience, there's been a lot of rest in the first 3 days. So the first 3 days of this transcendence, the brain doesn't know how to function. And without the ability to function in the new consciousness, it doesn't know what words to speak. It doesn't know what expressions to share. And if there's been a big jump, the brain is very challenged. In this moment, it is a level up and it is a shift in reality. Yet, because I've been through this before, there's a knowing of what's taking place. Yet, this is why we have special temple spaces. We have monasteries for individuals going through this, because they require a lot of support. Just the daily driving is absolutely not a possibility. In my previous experience, I couldn't drive for 3.5 weeks. There is no capacity to be able to drive. Also because the brain and the body are not working in union. So some things where there's more focus required are not possible. The ability to make food when the body does want food, which often isn't for the first 3, 4, 5, 7 days, depending on the radical shift and how pure the body is and how ready it is for this transcended experience to stay and maintain, is that you'll require someone to feed you, someone to get you water, someone to assist you. Even walking, that most of the time requires either support, or you'll find yourself crawling. You will find yourself sitting down midway, a couple of steps, and unable to hold the weight of your own body. Short distances almost seem completely inconceivable to the how to move. Now, if you're in a wave of what you might consider awakeness, it feels like everything is shifting only to come with another, what you might consider a download or a upload of physical maintenance, and where the cells can hold the consciousness. And so this period of time requires lots of sleep. The eyes often are burning and unable to stay open, and the heart can be in a very fast heart rate when it doesn't know how to beat in coherence or homeostasis with the new state of being. So to support, have been sleeping and also being able to use another body as self-regulation. Self-regulation for someone in this arrival is very, very important. Patting them on the head or putting a hand on their heart or reminding the body it's safe, so that there is not what is created when the body goes into freak out of the experience. And if there's too much light, it feels like there's my experience today was I felt like my entire being was pins and needles. So I was a ball of pins and needles. Yet in previous experiences, I've seen and witnessed others that have felt as though there was so much light reverberating that they could hear the humming. They didn't know what that was, and it was loud and it was scary to the human. The inability to speak out of vibrational truth can often come through at this time, where language will just stop because you don't know how to formulate words. And and my beautiful beloved's putting a hand on my body, so to explain their body feels a level of safety in the touch of someone who's just able to ground into the physical and to support any energy moving as a natural conduit without necessarily needing to focus on moving energy. There is a requirement for the energy to move and to stabilize. So by having that support, the stability occurs. Now, these first 3 days are also the most important, or however long, 3, 5, 7, depending on the individual, because if you become too, if you push beyond, you can fragment just to cope. And so fragmenting is where the attainment won't stabilize. This is why the support is necessary, because you can't have a conversation in the way you would. You can't do human duties. So I know, based on the past experience and what I'm prepared for this time, that there is a possibility that I may or may not be able to facilitate my work or my service or my purpose duties tomorrow, and there may be a need to rearrange that. Yet I also am aware that in this case, where there's energy, mass amounts of energy leaving, that it could be supportive, that those individuals will receive what I can no longer hold within my physical cellular structure. So this so the body is needing that rest. The body is needing physical touch. The body needs to stay free from thinking tasks and what you might consider or normal human expressions. The more that everything is turned off temporarily to allow for the energy to move as quickly as possible, the more likely one is to stay in the attained state. And when there is an awake point like this that is presented, where there is communication, ability to move, and a pause on the frequency shift, then the things that are a necessity, only what you would consider a necessity, eating, drinking, toileting, showering, those are the only requirements of one in this point of being to be able to nourish their new expression. This can be very confusing to those around. If you are not around individuals that understand what's going on, it can be very scary for them, and it can also bring up judgments or confusions. There can be suggestions to get or seek medical support. There can be suggestions to push through, or pressure from the outside world. So when you're in environments where the individuals around you don't know what's going on, trying to explain is only going to deplete the ability for the brains, what is there in the reservoirs. And it's best to say that you're sick or unwell and unable to be in the way that would normally express. Physically at this point in time. The body feels so heavy and the mind is silent still, with bursts of information moving through the neural pathways at times when there's energy leaving the body. This is how the synapses recalibrate, is they use thought to move through the old vibrational state. And that thought can sometimes come through as irrational stories, hallucinations, or some kind of paranoia. And if the body is not relaxed or supported, then that can create a sense of mania in the individual. And when I've witnessed this, I've been on the support role. I've seen some very confused humans try and do things that they would never do and they would never have, because the human is detached, but it is in a manic state at the same time. So there's a detachment for everything in the life, a detachment for family, a detachment for creation, purpose. There's no desire there. It's completely neutral. There's nothingness. And so when the mania happens, if there's not a stable and supported point of presence, then you can do things like give houses away, children up for adoption, all these interesting things that are moments of the old energy moving through the system to release in totality from the somatic expression. And so as those cells come into the vibration of attainment, this awareness is very important, that there is a level of not being in the right mind until this period of vibrational support has landed, and that certain expressions or thoughts are not rational in the transition point, and that this vastness of space, or this nothingness, and the incongruency with the physical body and any panic of the new state creates a very unstable experience, because it's like being completely in the oneness of everything, and yet the body is not arrived there and will have its own resistance as it moves through. So that's all there is to share at this point.